Hi, this is Rachel Cunningham, and you're listening to Joyful Love, episode 69.
If you're ready to bring joy and connection back to your marriage, stick around. Each week, I give you the tools to up-level your thinking, open your heart, and bring joy and fun back to your relationship. Because it's not enough just to stay married. We want to love being married.
Hello, friends. How are you? I asked myself that question this morning in my journaling session, and a lot came out. You know, time to journal is a gift that I give myself almost daily, and I can notice on the days that I don't. My journal entries are not pretty. They're not excellent writing, or they're not even beautiful stories that my kids will one day want to look back on. No, my journal entries are filled with the little fears inside of my head. All of the concerns, all the worries, all the anxieties, all the survival brain drama. But daily journaling helps me to get all of that out of my head and onto the page so that I can look at it neutrally and so that I can decide on purpose what to do with it. I also mix it up with gratitude and prayers for my loved ones, but it's usually a mix of all three. And here's what I've noticed about the power of journaling every day. I woke up with anxiety and worry this morning, as I know many of you do. Many days are like that for me lately. And in 20 minutes, I had clarity and hope. Because I don't just dump the drama in my brain out. I also welcome my wisest self to step in and show me how to trust, how to accept, and exactly what to do next in every situation that life could throw at me. Making time to journal is not always easy, but for me, it's necessary. And it puts me in charge of my life, even when circumstances are out of my control. If you wake up with anxiety, I highly encourage you to do this too. Do it for yourself. Just 10 to 20 minutes most mornings, even 5 minutes, can change your whole day. And if you do that enough days, it'll change your life. Now, if you're struggling right now in your life and your marriage, you might need more than journaling to help you. I hear that. I get that. There are times when all of us need outside help. If you'd like to take the work that I teach in this podcast to a level of deep healing and really start to take charge of your life and your marriage, I invite you to sign up for a free consultation next week. On that call, we'll uncover what's really going on, and I'll help you to see clearly what to do about it. And if I feel like you're a good fit to work with me in my one-on-one coaching program, I'll invite you to work with me for a life-changing 6 months. You can schedule that free call at www.rachelcunningham.com/work with me. Okay, on to today's episode. Today, I'm sharing the day 2 replay of the Connected Communication Challenge. If you missed the first day, go back and listen to episode 68 as well. And with that, enjoy.
Welcome back to day 2 of the Connected Communication Challenge. I am so thrilled that you're here. Yesterday, we covered skill number 1, which was let love lead the way. I am wearing a love sweater today to be on point. And today we're going to dive right into skill 2 and 3. Skill number 2 is to assume the best of your partner. I want to give you 2 scenarios right now of the difference between assuming the best of your partner and assuming the worst of your partner. In the first scenario, let's just call her a woman. Let's just call her Sarah, leaves her husband and children for a weekend away with some girlfriends. The whole time she's with her friends, she is worrying about how poor of a job her husband is doing, with managing everything at home and with the kids without her. She comments to her friends how messy my house is going to be, so messy when I get home. I just know it. And she tells them that she tells them that her husband is just lazy and he's inconsiderate and he doesn't know how to think like she does. And he doesn't know how to do anything right. She even says it's like she's raising a teenager and she has to baby him through everything, right? We've all been there at one point or another, right? We can understand Sarah on this. Am I right? I know I've been there. So let's look at the second scenario with a similar situation. Renee leaves her husband and children for a weekend away with friends. And let's just first of all give Sarah and Renee kudos for like making it happen to leave the husband home with the kids so they can go have a weekend away. But Sarah, the whole time she's away with her friends, she simply enjoys being with her friends because she is choosing to trust. She is making the conscious choice to trust that her husband is doing the best he can. He may not do everything the same way she does. Actually, he definitely will not. Let's just go ahead and admit he will definitely not do everything the same as she does. But she's trusting that he's doing the best that he can in the best way that he knows how. She also assumes that he's doing some things better than her. Like maybe he's letting the house go and is focusing more on playing with the kids, right? And she appreciates that. She's recognizing that because she knows that the kids are going to get more attention. She enjoys her trip away with her friends, not because her husband is super perfect, but because she trusts that he has good intentions to do the best that he can. In both of these scenarios, the main difference is how positively or negatively each person thinks of her partner. Dr. John and Julie Gottman, the founders of the Gottman Institute for Relationship Science, calls this situation the positive and negative sentiment override. That is just a fancy term for saying that Sarah is assuming the worst and Renee is assuming the best of her partner. So let's look at what happens. Actually, let's look at the results of what happens when Renee and Sarah both get home. Okay, they both enjoyed some time with their friends. Renee maybe a little bit more because she was already thinking positively. But let's look at the results of when they get home. Let's say that in both scenarios, maybe the dishes are on the counter when they walk in, right? And maybe the kids' homework wasn't completed, right? They both might have some initial frustration at this, right? And I would too, right? We're all humans. And when we get home from a rare occasion of hanging out with our friends, we like things to be in order. We don't want to see things that we have to catch up on, right? So it's understandable that both people would get home and feel some frustration about things not being done. So let's look at assuming the worst, what that gets us. If Sarah approaches her partner when she gets home with the same kind of negativity as when she was away, she will criticize and blame him. And he is immediately going to feel defensive and on guard, right? He's going to feel criticized and he's going to feel genuinely unappreciated. We can all assume that their conversation is not going to be productive. It's not going to help either of them improve anything, right? Assuming the worst, if it helped in any situation ever, I would tell you to do it. I would teach you how to assume the worst, right? But it is just genuinely not helpful. So it's not going to improve anything for Sarah or her husband or her kids or her family life or her home, right? So he is probably going to return the criticism with defensiveness, and they'll both end up feeling criticized, blamed, and unappreciated. And most likely, there will not be connection. So no improvement will happen, and there's going to be disconnection. And there will most likely not be that sweet connection at the end of the night for them, right? When you're away, you would hope to come home and like have some sweet connection with your honey. But that is not going to be the result of this, right? The ultimate result is massive disconnection. So let's look at Renee's result. Renee, even when she walks in the house and notices that things aren't up to par, she might feel disappointment of that. But if she met that disappointment with the assumption that her partner did his best, what might she focus on instead? She might focus on her appreciation. She might focus on the fact that he agreed to parent alone all weekend so that she could have a weekend with friends. She might focus on what he did do, right? The kids were in bed after all. Amazing. They were alive after all, right? Amazing. She might focus on reconnecting with him and asking him, and just talking to him and saying, how was your weekend? Right? Let's connect. How was your weekend? How are the kids? Was anything hard? Right? How did the kids do in this area? Did you have fun? Why didn't you have fun? Right? What was hard about it? What was good about it? And then she might say, let me tell you about my weekend. She might not even mention the dishes and the trash and the laundry, right? She might even empathize and say, you know what? I know how hard it is to be with the kids all day, every day. You did amazing. And sometimes dishes just don't get done on those days. I totally get it. And then she might ask for help, right? And just, say, hey, do you want to knock out these dishes together in 10 minutes flat? We could do it together super fast. And then go snuggle and spend some time together. If this is the approach that she can take and assume the best of her partner, I see some really sweet connection and maybe even some fun, sexy time in Renee's future. But when you assume the best, when you really can tap into my partner is doing their best. They're doing the best with what they know how. You're able to foster fondness and admiration, right? Those things are possible all of a sudden. Fondness and admiration. You look for these things to be appreciative about, right? You look for things to feel connected about, right? And that fondness and admiration that was there in the beginning of your relationship that was so much easier. When you assume the best, you're able to see past the negative messages in your brain to who your partner really is, right? To their worth. Again, to skill one, to be able to see that they are lovable exactly as they are and they're worthy. Right? So let's look at a different type of scenario. Let's say that your partner forgets the same thing over and over and over. Rather than criticizing and tearing them down, you remind yourself they're doing the best they know how. And if you believe that they are doing the best that they know how might you approach this situation differently? Let's say that in your partner's forgetfulness, you have to repeat your schedule or the kid's schedule often. You could assume he doesn't even care about us. He forgets all the time because he doesn't care. If he cared, he would remember. He only cares about himself, right? That's assuming the worst. And we all know where that critical conversation will go. It'll go to shaming. It'll go to shaming someone, your partner, the person that you're in this life with. It'll go to shaming them for how their brain works. And shaming tears down confidence and it creates massive disconnection. Or we can flip the script. Again, we can assume the best and stop shame in its tracks, right? What if we could stop shame in its tracks every time? Oh my gosh, the world would be such a better place, right? Shame is one of those feelings that just creates so much disconnection from yourself and from other people. So assume that he cares about you deeply and recognize that he doesn't like forgetting either, right? I think that's so important for things that, you notice like negative patterns in your partner. or your kids or yourself, it's important to remember that like that person doesn't really like this thing about themselves either, right? And if they knew how to change it, they would, right? So if you were to assume the best, how might your communication to improve this situation go differently than assuming the worst? When you assume the best, you have way more opportunities to find solutions to your problems. You open the doors to more possibilities of getting what you want because you're not fighting against reality, the reality that your partner has a hard time remembering, right? Accepting reality that your partner isn't perfect and assuming the best allows you to be open to step 3. So step 3 is to get really curious. So in this situation of your partner forgetting over and over and over, you might get curious and you might say, first of all, like understanding skill 1, your partner is lovable. They are worthy of love. They're worthy of kindness and respect. Step 2, you're assuming the best. So I assume they're doing their best. So now you're able to get curious and ask, why is your partner the way he or she is? Why are they forgetting so much? Not out of why are they doing this? Not out of a judgment way, but out of a curiosity, like, I want to understand this deeper, right? Why are they forgetting so much? What's going on in the rest of their life? How might their brain work differently than yours does? Are you trying to get their brain to work like yours does and it just doesn't? Maybe their brain is different than yours. Are there any other areas, right? Like in their life that they might be feeling overwhelmed with, like of work, of family, and of just like their own mind drama, right? What other areas are they focused on that might be hindering them from remembering things? Also, things like getting curious about what their upbringing was like. How was their family life? How did their parents raise them? What kind of messages were they fed as a child, right? Also looking at, were they always forgetful? Or is this a new thing? If it's a new thing, is it time for a doctor check? Is it time for a freaking multivitamin and some ginseng, right? Do you even do you need to create a family calendar, right? Do you need to set up some reminders? Do you see how assuming the best allows your own brain to take charge and dig in and say, okay, where is this, like this, their forgetfulness is obviously affecting me. Their issue, whatever it is obviously affecting me. So where can I get curious to solve this problem? Is there anything I can do to solve this problem? You get to open the door to possibilities to solve the problem better when you assume the best. And when it comes to your communication with your partner, when you get curious, you can ask, what do you think of this? Instead of always saying, here's what I think, right? Here's what I think you should do. If you just did this, if you just put a Post-it note on your computer, if you just did all these things, right? Then it would fix the problem. But instead, you can back up and get curious and say, what do you think about this? What do you think we should try? What do you think is the problem, right? You can say, I want to understand you more on this issue, right? Even things that you have very different opinions on, right? Maybe it's not something they're actually doing, but maybe it's just a way that they think. You can even approach your partner with curiosity and say, I want to understand you more on this. Tell me more. I want to understand how you see the world in this way. Getting curious means that you slow down. You be present with each other's thoughts. You don't rush to make the point. You don't rush to fix the problem. You actually slow down enough to understand the root of whatever the issue is. This works when you disagree with your partner on huge issues too. Can you slow down enough to understand your partner's point of view on an issue that you disagree about? That's the work, right? That is the work, allowing yourself to see the best in your partner, allowing yourself to get curious, allowing yourself to slow the process down and get your brain out of thinking everything is so horrible, right? The work is simple, but it's not always easy. And here's why. Because your brain is programmed to look for the negative. Here's why. Here's why your lovely lower brain is programmed to think of the negative. There is the motivational triad. The motivational triad is the lower brain's entire purpose. You can think of the lower brain as like our primitive animal monkey brain, right? I kind of switch those terms all the time. Lower brain, animal brain, monkey brain. It's the survival part of the brain that is just there to keep our species alive. The higher brain is what we think of as the human brain that plans and thinks through logically, right? But the lower brain is constantly seeking pleasure. It's doing these three things: seeking pleasure, avoiding pain, and conserving energy. These are important things to keep us alive when there is real danger. Unfortunately, the animal brain doesn't know the difference between real danger and perceived danger. So it's programmed to constantly seek pleasure, avoid pain, and conserve energy. And I don't know if you've noticed or not, but anytime we go about making a change in our lives, whether that's in our health, in our relationships, or in our dreams and careers, that change is hard. We don't stay motivated for long, right? We stay motivated for maybe 2 days, maybe a week, maybe even a month if we're lucky. And we have the motivational, and then we fall off that motivational excitement. And we have the motivational triad to thank for this, because the lower brain's motivation is completely opposite of reaching for big goals, right? Because our lower brain is literally motivated to avoid change. It's motivated to avoid the unknown, because the unknown is not easy, right? And it needs ease to conserve energy. The unknown might be dangerous. It might be painful, even emotional pain, right? Like we think of physical pain as like avoiding danger, but like our lower brain thinks that emotional pain is dangerous, right? So, and then if it's not fun, it's definitely going to say, hey, this isn't good, right? If we think back to when we were scavenging for berries, the ones that were bitter were dangerous. They were poison. So we were primed to seek pleasure in saying which ones are sweet, which ones are good, which ones are going to excite me, right? The bitter was not exciting because they were poisonous, right? So, I mean, we can look at our lower brain and understand it. Understanding, like, of course, change is hard. Of course, these things are hard, right? This is where our own cognitive dissonance comes in, where you're saying, I want change, I want growth. My soul and my highest self, my higher brain wants that. And I want to learn how to love big, but I also want to stay comfortable. And none of these things sounds comfortable. Change doesn't sound comfortable. What if it doesn't work? What if I experience emotional pain at the other side of this, right? Sometimes that fear of doing the work to change your relationship and the possibility that your partner doesn't meet you in the middle for change, sometimes that will hold you back from even wanting to accept and work towards these skills, because you're like, I don't want to experience the emotional pain of my partner not meeting me in the middle. So instead, I'm just going to avoid change altogether, right? So what is the antidote for all of this? It's to practice making these things safe. It's to give healthy pleasure. and to be willing to move towards and embrace discomfort. It's to be willing to be uncomfortable. It's also, for the conserving energy part, I believe that it's also to accept radical self-care so that you can handle the energy that the hard stuff requires of you, right? So be willing to feel uncomfortable. It's when you give your brain what it wants with pleasure, it's no longer seeking false pleasure, right? False pleasure could be over consuming anything that gives you a negative result, right? Anything, whether it's social media or sugar or alcohol or cigarettes, sleep, right? Sometimes like we want to just lay on the couch when we're having a hard time. But like, so when your lower brain is seeking that pleasure, if it's giving you a net negative in life, if it's giving you a negative result, it's a false pleasure. So we want to seek healthy pleasure. And that's why I talk about like including fun in your relationship. We need fun and pleasure in our lives. Otherwise, our brains are going to constantly seek it from other areas. We cannot ignore that, but we can use our higher brain to create that fun from things that don't hinder our goals. We can even make our goals fun, right? We can even like say, look at the goals that we want and say, instead of making this something that I'm dreading going after and like, oh, I dread this every day, how can we make our goals actually fun, right? Use your higher brain for these antidotes, right? Your lower brain wants to just hold you back. We're going to learn how to use our higher brain to do the antidotes. And your higher brain needs to remind your lower brain constantly that, you know what, I have compassion on you. Of course, this is hard, right? You can even wake up every day and say, oh, yep, this is hard. I get it. It's your job to keep me safe. And it's your job to protect me from danger. And I want you to know, lower brain, you can even name it, call her Sally or whatever, right? It's okay to feel uncomfortable as we learn a new way. It's safe to feel uncomfortable. It's okay that we don't know what's on the other side. I trust myself to handle the unknown. I trust myself to try this new way, even though it's uncomfortable. So have compassion, have massive compassion on yourself when change is hard. Usually when change is hard, we tend to use it as an opportunity to beat ourselves up. I think the way to true growth and change is to have compassion on that part of you that wants to stay right here. If making some of these changes that I'm talking about this week feels really difficult and uncomfortable, know that you are not alone. Know that your brain is just trying to hold you back from change because change is uncomfortable. Change is scary for your lower brain. And then be willing, make the conscious choice to be willing to feel discomfort for a time while your lower brain gets used to the new change, to the new things, right? And when you start to see growth and change, you are going to start to understand, like your lower brain is going to start to understand, oh, I'm used to this now. It's not so scary. I trust myself to handle this. I trust myself to keep growing and learning, right? Reaching for new goals is part of the human experience. And you can remind your brain, I'm safe to reach, right? This stretch might feel uncomfortable, but I'm going to reach for it because I know it's good for me, right? I'm going to reach for those high goals. This is one of the reasons why one-on-one coaching is such a powerful experience. In each of my sessions with my clients, we get to uncover what's so scary about change for them. And everyone has a different story. Everyone has different past and different, big T trauma and little T traumas that they're uncovering. And we uncover those in our sessions. We uncover the stories and the messages that your brain has had to process over the years so that you can start to really change those stories and, flip the script, so to speak, on those stories and really reach for new, different results in your life. We uncover those stories that your mind has been telling you over and over and over and over and over, right? And really dig deep on what's holding you back in life. So we get to uncover those and really discover, why it's a powerful thing to believe that you are in control of your life. So many times when we get married and we start to experience negative results in life, our brain wants to resist that negative stuff. So we end up blaming our partner, and we end up blaming our partner for the results in our life. It is a powerful thing to be able to rise up and say, oh, it's not my partner who is creating the results in my life. It's my human brain that is holding me back. So where can I stand up for myself? Where can I take my power back and say, I'm going to create these results that I want in my life, even if my partner is not able to help me in the moment, right? Okay, that's what I have for you guys today. I want to spend just a second talking to those of you who are interested in private coaching. I know some of you are ready and you simply need to know a bit more before you sign up. So I invite you to go ahead and book a consultation with me. That first call is free and there are no obligations to sign with me. On that call, we'll uncover all the areas that you want to grow in. We're going to cover your whole life, right? And we will create a vision, a powerful vision for you to look forward to. Like, what does your soul want? What is your soul craving that it doesn't have? We're going to create that vision on that call for the future of your life and your marriage. And I on that call, I let you know how I can help you, specifically how I can help you and your unique situation go from where you are now to that beautiful vision that your heart is craving. It's a 6-month program, 6-month one-on-one private program of weekly coaching for an hour each week. And we uncover the root reasons of why you keep repeating old patterns and how to finally break those patterns and start creating the results that you want in life. So again, you can sign up here for a free consultation, rachelcunningham.com/work with me. All right, that's what I have for you guys. All right, bye guys.
Okay, I hope that you enjoyed that as much as I enjoyed sharing it. I've had several people tell me that they're listening to this challenge with their partners, and it's been really great to start getting on the same page with some of these skills. I encourage you to listen to them with your partner too. Allow it to open the doors to healing together. And again, if you're ready for one-on-one help with these things, go ahead and book a free consultation call with me. I'd love to help you. It's what I love to do. You can do that at rachelcunningham.com/work with me. Okay, I wish you all the happiest of holidays and a Merry Christmas with your loved ones this week. And I'll be back next week with day 3 of the Connected Communication Challenge. Thanks for listening to Joyful Love. If you'd like to know more about my work, come visit me at rachelcunningham.com. That's Rachel, spelled with an AEL, Cunningham.com.